6 years of silence. One flight that could change everything. And right now, nobody, not the palace, not the press, not even the people closest to him, actually knows who is getting on that plane with him. Hello, friends. My name is James, and you are watching Royal Daily Report, your number one source for the most exclusive, most shocking, and most talked about royal stories on the internet. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now because you do not want to miss what we have coming. And if you have been here from the beginning, you already know. We never stop. We never hold back. And tonight is no different. Let us get into it. Tonight, we are covering one of the most confusing, most contradicted, and most emotionally significant royal stories of the entire summer. Because over the past 7 days, the reporting on Prince Harry's return to Britain has flipped not once, not twice, but multiple times. One day, the headlines say Meghan and the children are coming with him. The next day, the headlines say they are staying home. GB News reported just 6 days ago that Princess Lilibet, Prince Archie, and Meghan are not expected to join Harry on his UK return. And yet other outlets, People magazine, OK Magazine, the London Evening Standard, have reported the opposite, that Meghan has finally agreed, that this could be the first of many trips. So tonight, we are cutting through the confusion. We are giving you every confirmed fact, every contradiction, every source, and the one thing that everyone, on every side of this story, actually agrees on. Prince Harry is coming back to Britain in July. Alone or with his family, he is coming. And what happens when he gets there could change everything. This is Royal Daily Report. Let us begin. Let us start with what is completely confirmed and beyond dispute. Prince Harry will travel to Birmingham, England, in July 2026 for what is being called the One Year to Go event, a countdown celebration ahead of the 2027 Invictus Games, which Birmingham will host for the first time since the competition's founding in 2014. Harry is the founding patron of the Invictus Games Foundation. This event matters to him personally and professionally in a way that almost nothing else in his post-royal life does. It is not palace business. It is not a legal hearing. It is his cause. The one thing he built entirely himself, for wounded veterans, that has nothing to do with titles or succession or institutional politics. That part of the story is settled. Harry is going to Birmingham in July. The question that has consumed royal media for the past week is who is going with him. If you want the full breakdown of every conflicting report on this story, subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. Because what comes next will help you understand why even the experts cannot agree. Here is where it gets complicated. On June 12, 2026, GB News published a report stating clearly that Princess Lilibet, Prince Archie, and Meghan are not expected to join Prince Harry during his UK return. The report cited sources who said that while circumstances could shift before the July visit, current expectations for the trip remain that Harry travels without his family. The same report quoted Harry's own High Court statement, where he said, "The UK is my home. The UK is central to the heritage of my children and a place I want them to feel at home as much as where they live at the moment in the United States." That statement reveals something important. Harry wants his children to know Britain. He has said so under oath in a legal filing. But wanting something and securing the conditions to make it happen safely are two different things. And according to GB News, as of June 12th, security remained the central issue preventing the family from traveling together, a situation the report says has persisted for several years. Now here is where the story flips. Just one day after the GB News report, the London Evening Standard published new information that AOL picked up and ran under the headline, "Prince Harry returning to the UK with Meghan Markle and the kids, first of many trips." This report stated that Meghan Markle has finally agreed to return to England and that she will be attending the Birmingham kickoff event on July 10th. A source told the publication, quote, "No doubt it's going to be extremely hard for Meghan to do this, but it's really a case of not having a lot of choice in it." The source went further, suggesting that Meghan and Harry need to make big efforts if they are going to hang on to their titles, and that Meghan would have to, in the source's words, eat some humble pie to secure her position. That is a very different framing from the GB News report. Two major outlets, two completely different versions of the same week, and both citing sources who claim to know what is actually happening. Like this video right now if you have been just as confused by these conflicting reports as we have. And subscribe to Royal Daily Report, because what comes next is where we found the thread that ties all of this together. So which version is true? Here is what careful analysis of every report tells us. OK Magazine, in a separate report, offered what may be the most balanced framing. They stated that Meghan might be joining Harry at the pre-Invictus event in July, should their security clearance be validated. The key word is should. Conditional, not confirmed. The same report noted that Harry had secured a victory in his fight for taxpayer-funded security, which they describe as clearing the way for Meghan to potentially return. But clearing the way is not the same as a finalized plan. Royal commentator Kinsey Schofield, speaking about this exact situation, said Meghan will only return to the UK on one condition. She said, quote, "If Meghan were to travel to the UK, her armed security is the deciding factor. That is consistent across every single report we have found. Security is the variable, not desire, not family pressure, not titles. Security. Whether Harry's reinstated protection extends to Meghan and the children, and whether that arrangement is fully finalized before July, appears to be the actual unresolved question driving every conflicting headline this week. Now let us talk about the emotional core of this story, because regardless of who travels in July, something significant has already happened. Harry's security battle, fought through the British courts for years, has reportedly been won. He lost his Court of Appeal case in May 2025. He told the BBC at the time that he could not see a world in which he would bring his wife and children back to the UK without it. That was 13 months ago. And now, in June 2026, multiple outlets are reporting that his protection has been restored. That alone is the headline. Because everything else in this story, Meghan's potential attendance, the children's potential first trip home in 4 years, the question of whether Charles will be there to greet them, all of it depends entirely on that one legal victory actually being real and actually being enough. Do not go anywhere. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report and turn on those notifications, because what comes next is about the one person in this entire story who has made his position the clearest of anyone. William. The Royal Observer published a detailed report on June 18th, just yesterday, examining how Prince William has responded to news of his brother's return. The report describes the relationship between William and Harry as having evolved from what was once an unbreakable bond into what the publication calls a strained estrangement, driven by their divergent roles as heir and spare, compounded by the revelations in Harry's memoir Spare. The same report references a brief reunion between the brothers in September 2025, their first meeting in 2 years, which insiders described as, quote, super positive and very relaxed. They reportedly discussed personal matters, including the children and King Charles's health, with real emotion present in the room. That meeting offered a glimmer of hope. But the Royal Observer's June 18th report makes clear that whatever warmth existed in that private moment has not translated into any public thaw. Royal enthusiasts have been waiting to see if the brothers will break the ice now that Harry has announced his July return. As of this report, there is no indication that they will. Now let us talk about King Charles, because in many ways, he is the emotional center of gravity pulling this entire story forward. Reports indicate that Harry desperately wants his father to open the 2027 Invictus Games alongside him next year. An insider told The Sun, quote, Harry wants it to happen both for the Games and for their relationship. It's his dream to have his father by his side. The same source noted that Invictus is returning to the UK for the first time since 2014, and that Charles, as head of the armed forces, would have a natural and meaningful role to play. The insider added, the sight of them on stage when it opens would be heartwarming and in the spirit of the occasion. That is the dream, the hope underneath all of this. Not just a family reunion in a hotel room or a private estate, but a public moment, father and son, standing together, opening an event built around healing, resilience, and second chances. Whether that dream survives contact with the actual complexities of palace scheduling, security protocols, and a relationship still finding its footing is something nobody can promise yet. Let us be completely honest about what we do not know. We do not know, as of today, whether Meghan will be on that flight to Birmingham in July. We do not know whether Archie and Lilibet will be with her if she does come. We do not know whether King Charles's schedule will allow for any meeting with his grandchildren during this visit, even if they do travel. We do not know whether William will make any gesture toward his brother during the 1-year-to-go celebrations, or whether the brothers will continue to operate as though the other is simply not in the room. What we do know is this: Harry is going. The Invictus Games matter to him more than almost anything else in his post-royal life. His security situation has reportedly improved enough to make a UK trip possible for the first time in years. And the people who love him, his father, by every available account, more than anyone, are watching, waiting, and hoping that July brings something real. Here is what this story ultimately tells us. The British royal family, after 6 years of separation, headlines, lawsuits, and public statements, is approaching a moment that nobody can fully predict. Maybe Harry walks into Birmingham alone, gives a speech, shakes hands with veterans, and flies home. Maybe Meghan is beside him, taking her first steps on British soil in 4 years. Maybe two small children, 7 and 5 years old, stand in a country they were told is part of their heritage and start, for the first time, to actually believe it. Maybe King Charles is there too. Maybe he is not. Maybe William offers his hand. Maybe he does not. Every single version of this story is currently being reported as true by a credible outlet somewhere. And the only way to know which version actually happens is to wait for July. This is Royal Daily Report, and we will be here, covering every confirmed development the moment it happens. That is all for tonight, friends. I am James, and this has been Royal Daily Report. If this story hit different for you, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you have not already, and turn on those notifications because we drop new stories every single week. Share this video with one friend who loves royal news. I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay informed, stay curious, and stay royal. Goodbye, friends. Hello, friends. If you are not subscribed to Royal Daily Report yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button right now.